Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Shagalinku TV. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and for the next few minutes we will be having this episode and discussing very important issue. So today we're looking at women and how climate change affects them. You know, climate change has been in the front burner for some time now, and countries are trying so hard to find ways of mitigating some of the challenges that climate change poses. So today we're looking at climate change and how it affects women in all spheres of their lives. Guest will be Dr. Gloria Chinwe Ujor. She's the Executive Director of Nigeria Environment Study Action Team NEST, and she will be talking with us on this very important topic, women and climate change. So let's go over to her and hear what she has to say about this topic, and then we'll come back and wrap up.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure for me to discuss with you this morning. I am Gloria Chinwe Ujor, and I'm actually the Executive Director of the Nigerian Environmental Study Action Team, an environmental NGO that is championing the cause of building Nigeria's response to climate change. We as an organization, my organization is a member of the PACJA Alliance in Africa, and so we are, often embracing activities that concern climate change. And I, as a person working as Executive Director, I am also, apart from the administration of the office, I'm also involved in the technical direction of the programs of the organization. And of course, the organization is based in Ibadan, but I often see myself, working in the different parts of the country, depending on the program or the project at hand. Thank you. With respect to being in forums or workshops, seminars, or what have you, I see that most of these activities are tailored towards the sponsoring body. If it's an organization that is being sponsored, of course the sponsor will indicate during the workshop discuss at so level. And that is why oftentimes you see that getting into the nitty-gritty of women's challenges or they face in such forums are not brought up to the boner. It's so that is the way I see it. Although I must confess that participation in such workshops also help to bring out this other aspect of not recognizing the challenge that women will face, in such forums. And of course, it also helps to modify or bring some modifications to the outcome of the workshop. Yeah, of course, environmental challenges are various, and it will be cumbersome for me to mention one by one. But in all of them, you always see that women are being disadvantaged. Renewable energy, yes. It's been in the burner. It's been a topic that has been encouraged, and the working towards renewable energy is also the toast of the world today, fighting the issues of climate change. We know that, yes, renewable energy is very, very important. When you talk about accessing energy from the sun, natural, accessing energy from the wind, or even biogas, and what have you. And of course, the geothermal, there are quite a number of sources that can be sourced. But I want to make reference to the issue of using biomass, that's the ordinary biomass, for cooking. Unfortunately, that argument that my grandmother or great-grandmother was using firewood and nothing happened to her, I think we cannot lean on such an argument, because ordinarily, health-wise, we know that it is very dangerous to cook with firewood in the open, because the smoke causes a lot of health risks for the women. Sometimes they may not know. It could be an issue of dying slowly. It can affect the eyes, it can affect the lungs and all that. So it is not an argument to be encouraged, cooking with firewood in the open. I am also aware that because of these dangers, some stoves have been developed to be used for firewood anyway, in such a way that it will not obviously bring out these dangers I'm talking, trying to control the amount of emissions and all that. But in all, I want to say that due to the peculiar circumstances of our country, our economic situation, and of course the vulnerability of the women groups or the women in Nigeria, it is rather very difficult for us to expect that the women will be looking up to solar energy for anything, or even wind energy, and what have you, all those high sounding energy sources. They will still embrace these ones, the firewood they get from the nature. And so what we need to do with respect to meetings or workshops where discussions on renewable energy go on is to ensure that we bring in this the cause of the women and try to either carry out sensitization or educate them in such a way that yes, we know that it is very difficult for you to embrace the high class of renewable energy. But then, if we need to embrace the firewood and the charcoal, then use of the cook stoves that make it more economical and then less hazardous, we need to bring them in and to train them in such a way that they can still embrace it and not expose themselves to the very harmful effect of open cooking, open firewood cooking. And so programs or discussions on entrenching renewable energy within our communities and so on will have to recognize the fact that even educated women in the urban centers, they still cannot grapple with even cooking with normal gas. Some of them are still either due to carelessness or feeling that the gas will burn them up or expose them. They still go to embrace this natural way of cooking, which is the firewood. And so a lot of sensitization and a lot of discussion need to continue to be carried out in order to help these women to reduce the risks they face, with respect to open burning. Use of firewood has always been argued as a way of deforestation, as a way of cutting down trees. But we advocate that the establishment of woodlots can also help where there is an organized group of women that really need to use wood biomass for cooking. It is very, very important because we know that as we discuss sustainable development, we still believe that we have to depend on nature to survive in one way or the other. And so if trees are cut, then we must look for open lands to plant up trees that can help for sustained use of this firewood. And I know that such programs have been succeeding. And I believe that that use of natural resources should be sustained. And what do I mean by sustained? I've just said that if women need to use woodlots, then there must be a way for them to put back into the nature what they are taking from the nature. And one of them is establishment of woodlots, either within forest zones, what we call reforestation. Within a forest zone where it has been cleared or where trees have been cut, trees should be replanted so that they can take up and maintain the soil, the ecosystem, so or so. Then at another angle, there could be bare lands. There could be bare lands that can be planted up. It's also a way of bringing the soil back to life, and that we call afforestation, where you go and plant trees in a land that does not have forests. Such programs have helped to especially this program is mostly practiced in the drylands of Nigeria, where there are vast spaces of land. So afforestation projects normally succeed in such places. And that is also a way of providing the wood biomass for need of the local communities. It's not just fuel wood. Wood is also used for other purposes. So these are programs that when we talk about renewable energy, we need to recognize that aspect of carrying out some afforestation in marginal lands, drylands, or reforesting, areas in the forest that have been where wood or trees have been cut down. Next, that's my organization, Nigerian Environmental Study Action Team. Actually, is an advocacy non-governmental organization carrying out its work in the various aspects of the environment. We have done, we have carried out, first of all, the organization actually took off by assessing the whole Nigerian environment. There's a documentation on that, which is called the Nigeria's Threatened Environment, where we brought in all manner of challenges that the environment faces in Nigeria, including farmer headers, conflicts, fighting for environmental resources. And so next, along the years, it's quite an old organization, established in 1989. And so along the line, it has been able to also dwell into the issue of relating with the Federal Ministry of Environment to build Nigeria's response to climate change. The organization contributed in the development of the first national communication of Nigeria to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And then, of course, one of the documents that it also has contributed in producing along the line is the Nigeria Adaptation and Strategy Plan of Action, what we call NASPA, CCN. And that is a document that has been in the front burner of, and that was also applauded at the United Nations Forum during one of the Conference of Parties on Climate Change. NEST has also been involved in carrying out gender, advocacy issues and studies too. Even from the name, you can say that intervening with a number of national and international organizations. And then with respect to membership of organizations, NEST has been very good in forming alliance with even national NGOs and international NGOs. For instance, NEST is a member of the IUC, and that's the World Conservation Union. I do not know whether you're aware of that organization, but it's one of the organizations that look into the conservation of nature. And I also want to add that NEST, as my organization, is a member of the World Conservation Union. That's the IUCN, that's the acronym standing for International Union for Conservation of Nature. And I must add that in Nigeria too, there are other members, and a notable member, and even a foremost member in Nigeria is the Nigerian Conservation Foundation. Then we have now NEST too. And of course, I want to also indicate that the IUCN, is an international environmental NGO, and that's the only one that has observer status during the United Nations at the United Nations General Assembly and so on. But I also want to add that I have been representing NEST in its work with the IUCN, especially at the global level. And as I'm speaking to you, just last year in September, I was elected by that member as a regional councillor for West and Central Africa. For now, being invited for the coalition for the this African, being invited for this meeting on the African Coalition of Sustainable Energy Access, that's the ACCEF. Next also is looking forward to seeing that this coalition comes out stronger in order to embrace all the gamut of challenges that we're facing with respect to developing renewable energy in Nigeria. And then, of course, we also look forward to putting in out there wherever we are called upon. Since it's a coalition now, we know that there's a driver, that's the ERA group is driving it, and then, of course, so we look forward to seeing that the whole group of stakeholders that need to benefit from this project, and no one is left out. That's where I won't stop so far.
Hope you all had a wonderful time listening to Dr. Gloria Chinwe Ujor as she talked about these very, very burning issues. Remember, the videos will still be here after the live broadcast on all our social media handles, and do remember to also join us or like our pages all over social media handle as well. That's on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. It's at Shagalinku TV. Also, remember to click on the notification button so that whenever we go on air, you will get to be notified and then join us. I want to thank everyone who joined us. I want to thank particularly our guest, Dr. Gloria Chinwe Ujor, for being a wonderful guest to us today. So till we see you next time, my name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, urging you all to have a blissful and wonderful time. Take care of yourselves and have a nice day.